Hello, are you out there? I'm Mark with Homebrew Fever Dreams, and I've got Homebrew class, the Ironblood, part 2, coming from GiveMeDice. So the other part was an hour and 15 minutes, and I was like, dude, I can't even handle a file bigger than that on my computer. So we are now, we've read through the whole class, so if you want to learn about it, it's a tight, close-range melee rogue type. Amazing. Think kind of Magneto-esque powers with wrist daggers, like a little Assassin's Creed vibe, just kind of melded together. Really well done. This whole thing is 7 pages long. So GiveMeDice asked me to. They posted a link to it on my subreddit r/homebrewfeverdreams. I put an hour and 15 minutes into reading through that. We're now going to get to the final subclass features. This video shouldn't be so long, but if you wanted to know how it finished up, here we go. The Ironblood roots. Ironbloods have many different types of lifestyles. Some live like nomads, traveling around with their leagues, which is kind of like their monastic order, right? Their troop, and using their abilities to take the money and other valuable goods. Let's roll back up here. From others. Some live in cities disguised as normal people, ignoring their abilities to fit in. But then there are the two most common types of leagues. The ones who serve and protect, and the ones that live in the shadows, hiding from the guards as they steal and murder for gold and treasure. I could have read that a little more cinematically, but yeah, let's keep going. Root of the Underworld. The root of the underworld is a route followed by many leagues, not only the ones that engage in criminal activities, which is what the root of the underworld is known for. Many leagues choose this lifestyle to not be obligated to follow the demands of the gods and give their members more freedom. It is also a route followed by the ones that are not in need of a specific lifestyle that obligates them to devote their lives to a certain goal or deity. The leagues that follow this route because of the criminal activities train their members to be assassins or thieves that are trained for different kinds of situations. Might want to rewrite the paragraph. You kind of talk about the no obligation to the gods or deities like twice. You literally have the word obligate, gods, obligate, deity. Pare that down a touch there. Just have someone read it for you and rewrite it, okay? Soaring Steel. Starting at 2nd level, you have learned to use your wrist blades to silently kill your opponents from a distance. Upon getting this feature, you have learned to fire your wrist blades at your enemy. They still deal the appropriate amount of damage, but now have a range of 20/60 feet. Once having fired wrist blade, you can't use them again until the end of your turn, which is when they magnetically return to your hand. So it's essentially a short ranged attack. Extra proficiency. Additionally, beginning at 2nd level, you gain proficiency in 2 of these skills: performance, intimidation, sleight of hand, stealth, history, perception, or survival. Yeah, so this is just for the spy. If you're playing a spy, playing an infiltrator, these are all useful proficiencies you might want to choose from. Leaded blades. Starting at 7th level, your wrist blades get infused with lead to poison your enemies. Once per turn, you can spend 1 blood point to deal extra damage to one creature you hit with an attack. You don't need to spend blood points if you have advantage on the attack roll. The damage equals your blood thrift die. Oh my. So if you have advantage on an attack against an enemy, you get this leaded blade poison feature for no blood points. That's nice. In addition to that, on a hit, the target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be poisoned and take poison damage equal to your blood thrift die at the start of its next turn, after which the condition ends. So, ultimately, you spend a blood thrift die, you spend a blood point, you're going to get an extra blood thrift die on the attack if it hits, and if they fail a con saving throw, essentially at the start of their next turn, they take an additional blood thrift die of damage. So on that second bit of damage, they do have the chance to make the con save, so it's not a guaranteed double up of the damage every time. However, essentially the way I'm reading this is anytime you have advantage on an attack against a target, you don't spend that blood point. So you're going to want to do this every time. You're going to want to lead your blades every advantage attack you have because it's for free. Okay, opportunity. Beginning at 10th level, you are quicker in combat. You can now choose to spend 1 blood point to take the disengage action or 2 blood points to take the dodge action as a bonus action. Okay, so essentially as a bonus action, you may take disengage or dodge. I would not have dodge cost 2 blood points. In my opinion, I would make both of them. Listen, it's a 10th level ability. Yeah, use your bonus action, spend 1 blood point, and you can get disengage or dodge. That's how I would do that. I wouldn't make them spend 2 blood points on the dodge. Not at 10th level. It's too watered down. And it's not, like with rogues, they have their, the hell is it called? Where rogues can disengage, hide, or dodge as a bonus action, right? I mean, so I think rogues just could do that unlimited. So yeah, you don't want to make an ability that's that weak relative to what something a rogue gets at like 2nd level or something, right? So yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Combat insight. At 15th level, you have mastered your insight. You can see through your enemies, telling what their plan of attack is or will be. Once per long rest, when a creature damages you, you can use your reaction to turn some of the damage back against them. To do this, you must make a wisdom insight check to predict where the creature's blood is going. The DC equals 15 for damage dealt by a melee attack, and a DC of 20 for damage dealt by spells originating from a creature in ranged attacks. That's right. So essentially a melee, physical swipe, any sort of physical attack you could see and they're close, it's a DC 15. Easier to do. However, if it's a magical spell feature or it's from ranged, it's a DC 20. Much harder to pull off. But both must originate from within 60 feet of you. So a magical spell or an arrow shot from more than 60 feet away, you don't get to do this on. They've got to be close enough to be within your magnetic field. You can add your proficiency bonus to the check if you are not already proficient in insight. Okay, so even if you're not proficient in insight, you still get to add your proficiency bonus, which makes sense because you're trying to meet a DC of 15 or 20. But at this point, you're 15th level, so your proficiency bonus is a +5. So, yeah, and you might have, that's gonna work some of the time. But ultimately, this is what it means. On a success, the damage is split evenly between you, rounded up to you. Okay. So if it's odd, you take the slightly larger one, they take the slightly less, 17 and a 16, kind of thing. Whatever. It's half. You split the damage. So it's essentially, once per long rest. I mean, this is pretty niche, right? It's very situational. But a caster throws a fireball at you, upcast from 50 feet away. They're going to blow you and your whole party to heck. It's essentially saying, I'm going to take a reaction, and I'm going to turn half the damage back on them. That could really blow the heck out of some little caster, some little assassin who's not too beefy. Yeah, it could be pretty effective. The reality, though, is you could blow it if you fail that wisdom insight check. So there is a touch of a risk, but if it works, it's a total... It's not a surprise, but it would surprise the heck out of the enemy. They would not expect it. They would not see it coming, and you could deal a whole lot of damage to them and mitigate half the damage to you. Yeah, that's good. That's good, right? Okay, so let's get on to the other subclass here. Root of the Everlife. Ironbloods in leagues that follow the root of the Everlife are often devoted to deities. They see it as their life's mission to protect and serve those who can pay, which can sometimes have unfortunate outcomes for those who can't. Some leagues devote their lives to deities such as Tempest, Tyr, Joaquin, and Morrigan. These can require a lot of work, as deities require many prayers and sometimes even sacrifices. Yeah, little proofread on this paragraph here, friend. OP, GiveMeDice. To earn money, these leagues often present themselves as a hireable force for battle, fighting on the side of those who can pay. All right, it's a good description, but yeah, definitely get a proofread, get a little help on that one. Cleric cantrips. Oh, so it's a light caster subclass. Starting at 2nd level, you learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the cleric class spell list. Nice, I like that. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Ironblood spells. Your magic comes from the devotion to your deity and the power of your deception. In case you're not following a deity specifically, or yeah, cool. You use your charisma whenever you cast a cleric cantrip, or sorry, when a cantrip refers to your spellcasting ability, it's based off your charisma. In addition, you use your charisma modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a cleric cantrip you cast, and when making an attack with one. At 7th level, you also learn 2 first-level spells from the cleric spell list, for which you have 2 spell slots. It's a nice touch. Yeah, that's giving you that gives you a lot. At 7th level, it's not super powerful, but it gives you a lot of versatility, and you get to cast it twice per long rest. So I like that. You always have the spells prepared, obviously. The DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. Spell attack modifier is your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. Very cool. And we're almost done here, folks. We're closing an extra proficiency. At 2nd level, you also gain extra proficiency because of your training for the battlefield. If you're being trained for a more specific kind of combat, you can choose between proficiency with the Warhammer and the Battle Axe, or gaining proficiency in 2 other skills from out of athletics, acrobatics, history, religion, arcana, and intimidation. So you can either choose Warhammer and Battle Axe in 1 proficiency in this list, or just 2 proficiencies from the list in not Warhammer and Battle Axe, right? If I'm reading that correctly. So that would just be if you wanted to be good at using like heavy weapons. I'd maybe throw Greatsword on there as well, in my opinion. Warhammer, Battle Axe, Greatsword. Give people that ability to use the bludgeoning, the slicing, axe, hammer, and sword. Whatever. But yeah, 2 more skill proficiencies. That gives you versatility as a character for role playing. Who wouldn't want that, right? Okay, magnetic restriction. Starting at 7th level, you're able to magnetically tie an opponent's body to the ground. When you hit a creature with your wrist blades, you can spend 2 additional blood points to try and restrain the creature. The creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be restrained. So this is not strength or dex based. You're literally binding the fluid, the blood in their body, holding them rigid. That's cool. Because it can be really hard to restrain or grapple with very dexterous or very strong creatures. Now, granted, a very strong creature is likely to have a high constitution, but not necessarily. So this is just a very unique way to get at restraining an enemy through their potentially weak constitution. The creature can attempt a saving throw again at the beginning of its next turn. The feature lasts until the creature succeeds. Yeah. Well, the creature's dead. That's potent. There's no time limit. You have locked them. They must break free on their own. That's kind of cool. And I don't think it's OP. I mean, they get a chance every turn to break free at the beginning of their turn. So yeah, I don't think it's OP. Now, one thing to bear in mind is, for DMs out there, if your player has this capability and you're just throwing 1 BBEG or mini boss against them, you got to watch out, because this sucker here will lock them down and make them easy pickings for the party. So be aware of that, and maybe have some helpers around your BBEG or mini boss, so they're not totally wiped out instantly from this within a turn or 2. Force of the battlefield. Beginning at 10th level, your experience in the battlefield grants you a bonus for when you're in combat. Once per turn, you can spend 1 blood point to add your blood thrift die worth to any attack or damage rolls. Is that exclusive? It's not attacks and damage rolls. It's attacks or damage rolls. So this is 10th level now, so you'd be the D8. 1d8 would be your blood thrift die. So that means I like that versatility though. If you have a high AC enemy, you could spend that blood point to get a plus D8 on your attack roll. Pretty much almost guaranteeing you're going to hit, right? I mean, that's really nice. Or to the damage, if it's a lower AC target where you're likely to hit, and you got your bonus action wrist blade thing, you're all doing your thing up. But yeah, once per turn, you can spend 1 blood die to add your blood thrift die worth to any attack or damage rolls. You clarify that you add this bonus before you roll for your attack or damage. Okay, so it's making you commit. But yeah, again, this class is all about versatility, and it's all situational. Against a high AC target, you'd be better off using this blood thrift die on the attack part of the roll, and on a low AC character, you would be better off putting the blood thrift die on the damage portion of the roll, assuming you're going to hit. And this is for all your attacks on your turn. Once per turn, you spend this for any attack or damage rolls, plural. So it's one or the other, but if you're doing the action attack, bonus action attack, you would get this bonus on both those rolls, right? Yeah. So it's well worth it at 10th level. If you really need to hit or you really need to deal the damage, this is going to help you do it. For 1 blood point, yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then finally, battle energy. At 15th level, you've been trained to fight in battle and learn to have better control of the blood of those you kill. Ooh, what's going to happen? Through your training, you have learned to absorb the energy stored in the blood of others. Once per long rest, you can spend 1 blood point after you have killed a living creature from the same plane of existence as you, and with a challenge rating of 3 or higher. Right, so you're getting this at 5th level, meaning you can't siphon off of a low CR creature. Again, though, I would say probably not plane of existence. I would say doesn't work on elementals, constructs, or undead. But any other living creature, you can't control the blood or the metals and the fluids within their bodies. So this would work against, again, a pixie from the Feywild. Well, maybe a giant-sized pixie with CR4 or something. Yeah. But anyway, you want to kill that pixie is my point. You want to kill that dang pixie from the Feywild, then you want to suck up their blood juices. Yeah, I think we all want to do that. So, you gain energy from their blood. This energy grants you advantage on any attack rolls or ability checks for the duration of 1 minute. Yes, that is pretty cool. So you drop an opponent in a combat. The fact that you siphon off that energy for the next minute means that it's going to help you through the whole rest of that battle. Or you're on an infiltration mission, you kill a guard or a helper, right? One of the sages that's helping the king, but your target's the king. So yeah, you kill this kind of tough, protective character, but your real target's the king. So you now have 1 minute, 10 turns to get to your target. With these bonuses, you now have advantage on lockpick checks, to dodge traps, to bribe, to deceive, to persuade, to intimidate your way to your true target. Yeah. So it means you got to initiate a kill, but then you got that 1 full minute. Very situational, very specific, but I see a lot of versatility. I think it would be very useful on those specialized missions or just in a general combat. Let's see. When your DM tells you that you have killed someone, you can choose to activate this feature and gain the chosen benefits of it. And then to wrap this up here, there's another great piece of art. You see the metal, claws on the front of the foot, climbing abilities, little daggers, all the rope harness. Very cool artwork. Here we go. Quick multi-classing. If you decide to use the rule for multi-classing in the player's handbook, here's what you need to know if you use the Ironblood as one of your classes. Ability score at a minimum. To choose the Ironblood, you must have a dex score of at least 13 and a charisma score of at least 13. Proficiency is gained. If the Ironblood isn't your initial class, you gain proficiency with light armor, medium armor, simple weapons, short swords, light crossbows when you take first level in this class. Some quick art credits. Roberto Gatto, Martin Deschambault, Antonio J. Manzendo, and Lee Setawan, just to give credit to the art you used here. But hey, listen, let me jump back here. GiveMeDice, thank you so much. This is a really well crafted and thought out piece of homebrew. I really appreciate it. And if anyone else wants to share their homebrew ideas, r/homebrew fever dreams here on the Reddits, you put it up there, and it's not inappropriate. I will make a video for you. But yeah, this is what it's all about, folks. Sharing the hobby with each other and just shining light on, you know, we make the creations. You know, you want people to think about what you've created. You know, you've made a new magic item, you've done a piece of art, you've made your own homebrew class, you've made your own adventure module. Let's talk about it. That's what Homebrew Fever Dreams is really about. It's not just horror stories. It's just, that's creative writing and it's based off a role play. But ultimately, I would love to cover more stuff like this. So, GiveMeDice. Thank you again. Take care.